Okay, what we have already done till the yesterday's class, we have covered smart cities. We have covered this card networks in India. We have already covered insurance sector. What we have also covered is state government guarantees that were very important topic. Okay, and steel making and other things like coal gasification, etc. These are the things that we have already covered. So now we will move forward. Now we will take this topic, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Kisan Sampada Yojana, Kisan Samriddhi Saha Yojana. Okay, Saha is Sahakari. Sahakari means cooperative. Okay, so in this cooperative sector, this scheme has been developed. Okay, so what is this scheme? It is central sector scheme, and you already know that what is the difference between central sector and centrally sponsored. The scheme is under the central sector component of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So it is a sub scheme within the scheme Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Okay, its objective is to gradually formalize the unorganized fisheries sector, facilitate the institutional finance to the fisheries sector, micro and small enterprises. So MSMEs which are working in this fisheries domain will get institutional finance. Now, providing one-time incentive to the beneficiaries of purchasing the aquaculture insurance. Insurance will also be provided. Incentive for improving the fisheries sector value chain efficiency. So value chain efficiency will be improved. So in this value chain, the network of the cold storage, transportation, connectivity program, etc., will be increased, right? Now, the last objective is incentive for adoption and expansion of fisheries and fish product safety and quality system. So safety and quality will also be ensured. So these are some of the objectives that this scheme wants to achieve, right? Now, what is the funding pattern for this? Total outlay will be 6,000 crore rupees, and it is very big allocation that has been given to this scheme. So this becomes very important, and 50% will be coming from World Bank and AFD, like French Development Agency. So 50% will be contributed by the external help. Now, and the rest of the 50% will be given by the beneficiaries. So this is the whole component of this scheme, right? What is the duration of this scheme? It will be for 4 years. So you should remember what is the funding pattern, what is the duration of this scheme, and what is the objectives that this scheme wants to achieve, right? And it is also important that under which component of which scheme this component has been launched. Okay, now the basic question that comes to mind is, what is Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana? So this scheme has been launched in order to increase the blue revolution in India, and blue revolution, as you all know about, is related to the oceans or fishery sector. So in order to increase the production of the fisheries and fish products in India, this increase the blue revolution, this Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana has been launched, and it is making the fisheries sector sustainable, responsible, and holistic development. And also, it is an umbrella scheme with two separate components. One is central sector scheme, another is centrally sponsored scheme. Okay, so in the central sector scheme, we all know that 100% is the central funding, and in centrally sponsored scheme, the some of the funding is shared between center as well as states. It is being implemented in all the states and union territories for a period of 5 years. So you should remember these are the some of the main aim of the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. Some of the targets that has been targeted is increasing the fish production to 22 million metric tons by 2024-2025. So what is the target? It is to increase from 13 million tons to 22 million tons. Now, increasing the contribution of fisheries sector in agriculture GVA to about 9%. Okay, so currently it is approximately 7.2%, Okay, in agriculture we are talking about. Okay, there is the whole economy. Within economy, agriculture sector has some GVA. Okay, and within this agriculture, 7.28% in is contributed by fisheries sector, and our government wants to increase this to 9%, right? And doubling the export earning to rupees 1 lakh crore by 2024-2025 from rupees 46,000 crore. So it will be developing of the export. So export and increasing the fisheries sector contribution in agriculture GVA, and new fishing targets have been given under this scheme, right? And it is an umbrella scheme that you should talk about, know about. Now, who are the intended beneficiaries? Fishers and fish aquaculture farmers. Micro and small enterprises also will be beneficiaries of this scheme. Fish farmers producer organization, FFPOs. Okay, farmer producer organizations within the fishing culture. Okay, this fishing domain or aquaculture domain, and also the startups. Any other beneficiary that may be included by the Department of Fisheries. So these are some of the beneficiaries that will be targeted by this scheme. Now, some of the facts that you should remember for your prelims is India's seafood and aquaculture industry. In the fiscal year 2021-22, India has exported approximately 7,760 approximately million worth of the sea product. Now, India is the fourth largest exporter of fish and fish products. If you only give the production or importance to the fish production, then India is the third largest country throughout the world. Okay, and within that also, if you only consider the aquaculture production, then India is the second largest. These are some of the things, some of the targets that you should remember. Now, next one is fertilizer sector in India. So, Ministry of Fertilizer and Chemicals has issued the guidelines regarding the reasonableness of maximum retail price (MRP) of phosphatic as well as potassic P and K fertilizers under nutrient-based subsidy scheme. Okay, so you should remember there are two things here: maximum retail price for phosphatic and potassic fertilizer, and other thing that is of most importance is the nutrient based subsidy scheme. So these are the both things that we have to talk about. Okay, so what is this nutrient based subsidy policy? So under this policy that was launched in 2010, it has been framed under the Fertilizer Control Order 1985. Okay, you should remember this. And this order itself comes from Essential Commodities Act 1955. So there is an act, and under this act, there is one fertilizer control order, that is the executive resolution, and in this nutrient based subsidy has been launched. Okay, so what is this fertilizer control order? FCO lays down as to what substance qualify for the use as fertilizers in the soil, product-wise specification and procedures for license as well as registration. Okay, so these are some of the things that will be regulated under this Fertilizer Control Order, FCO 1985. Okay, so you should remember that nutrient-based subsidy policy has been launched under this Fertilizer Control Order, and which itself is driving its power from Essential Commodities Act. What is the eligibility for gaining this nitrogen-based subsidy? Okay, nutrient-based subsidy. It will be applicable for 25 grades of P and K fertilizers. Okay, you should also remember one thing, that urea that we talked about, urea is not included in this nitrogen-based subsidy, nutrient-based subsidy. Okay, so other nutrients of the crop are included in this policy, right? So some of the fertilizers which have been included are diammonium phosphate, which is also called DAP, muriate of potash, MOP, monoammonium potash, MAP. So these are some of the phosphate and potassium type of chemical fertilizers which are covered in this nutrient-based subsidy. So government has announced a fixed rate of subsidy in per kilo basis. Okay, so fertilizer subsidy is given on a per kilo basis, and and each primary nutrient of subsidized P and K fertilizers, namely nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, potash, and sulfur, etc., are given importance here, right? So subsidy recommendation, who recommends this subsidy? Interministerial committee is recommends this type of nutrient subsidy before the start of the finance year, and then ultimately the decision is taken by the Department of Fertilizers. So these are the two important bodies that you should remember, right? So this is all about the nutrient based subsidy. Now what I already told you about is that nutrient based subsidy doesn't cover the urea in it, right? So there must be some other policy for this urea. So urea subsidy policy is also there. MRP of urea is statutorily fixed by the government of India. So there is a law for it. Okay, and government of India always fix what will be the subsidy for it. Right. Now, the difference between the delivered cost of the fertilizers at the farm gate and MRP payable by the farmer is given as the subsidy to the fertilizer manufacturer imported by the government of India. So difference is there between the delivered cost of the fertilizer at the farm gate and MRP payable by the farmer is given as subsidy. So there is a difference between.
Sir, voice is repeating.
Oh, sorry. Is it audible now?
Now it is clear. At that time, double word was there.
Yes. Double voices were coming. So I'm sorry for that. Now, nutrient-based, urea-based subsidy, MRP of urea is statutorily fixed by the government of India, and the difference between the delivered cost of the fertilizer at the farm gate. So whatever the cost is incurred by the fertilizer companies to make the fertilizer reach at the farm's gate, and MRP that is paid by the farmer. So there is a difference between the cost that if suppose a bag of fertilizer is there and it reaches at a farm, right? So there may be difference between the production cost, okay, and the MRP that this fertilizer farmer has given to the government. So whatever the difference between these two will be there, that will be given by the government of India. So this is what this this urea based subsidy is all about. Okay, subsidy on urea is paid on the dispatch, whereas nutrient based subsidy is paid on the quantity sold. So you should remember what this actually means. That suppose there is a manufacturer of urea. Okay, so subsidy on urea will be paid on dispatch basis. Okay, so whatever the quantity will be dispatched by this urea manufacturers, okay, the companies, on those the subsidy will be given by the government. Okay, whether this quantity has been received by farmer or not, right? So here the farmer doesn't come into play. Okay, farmer doesn't come into play. The manufacturer, who are the manufacturer of this urea, those subsidy will be allocated according to the quantities that they manufacture. Okay, while this nutrient based subsidy, you should remember, is paid on the quantities sold. So whatever the quantity that will be actually sold to farmer, right? So on this, the nutrient based subsidy will be given, because there are many leakages also, leakages of the product, leakages of this nutrient based bags, okay, urea based bags, etc. So in order to reduce this leakages, the nutrient based subsidy is given when when the bag or the nutrient is sold to the farmer on the field, right? So there is a difference between the subsidy of urea as well as nutrient based subsidy. Now, what is this fertilizer grade? Definition of this fertilizer grade urea. It refers to the guaranteed minimum percentage of three key nutrients in the fertilizer material, that is nitrogen, potash, phosphorus, and potash. Okay, so there is a guarantee that minimum quantity of nitrogen, phosphorus, as well as potash has been added to the fertilizer, and this is the fertilizer grade urea. Okay, now moving to the next topic, FDI in space sector. So government has relaxed the rules to allow 100% FDI in the space sector. So in the space sector, 100% FDI is eligible, right? Now, more about this news. Existing FDI policy in space sector, that is earlier FDI was permitted in establishment and operation of satellites through the government approval route only. So FDI was permitted, but you have to take the permission of the government beforehand. Okay, then it amended the foreign policy. Now, what is this FDI policy for this space sector? 100% FDI is allowed in the space sector in line with the vision and strategy under the Indian Space Policy 2023. So Space Policy 2023 was launched by the Government of India, and in this policy, what this Government of India said, that we are going to liberalize the space sector for private players. Okay, so private players entry became very uniform, and it was allowed, it was liberalized. So this was the main purpose of this space policy 2023, and in line with the vision given by this policy, 100% FDI has now been allowed in this space sector. So liberalized entry routes are in order to attract the potential investors. Now, FDI limits for different segments of satellite subcomponents in India is that up to 100% of the FDI under atomic route is automatic route. Okay, no need of the government's intervention is there in the manufacturing of components and subsystems of the satellites. So if not the whole satellite cannot in the construction of whole satellite, this 100% FDI will not be eligible. If you are forming a component, okay, subsystem of a satellite, then 100% FDI will be allowed, right? Ground segment and user segment, then this 100% FDI in automatic route will be allowed. Now, what are other definitions? Other will be like 74% will be allowed under automatic route only when satellites are manufactured as well as operations. So if you want to manufacture a satellite, then only 74% of FDI is allowed. Rest 26% should be given by the Indian entity, right? And operation of satellite data products and ground segment. Okay, the ground segment is the segment where the signals from the satellite are received. Beyond 74%, these activities fall under government route. So if you want to go beyond 74%, then you have to take permission from the government of India. And up to 49%, launch vehicles. Launch vehicles means rockets. Okay, so rockets, and in the rocket sector, only 49% of the FDI is allowed. It is associated systems and subsystems of the rocket, and the creation of a spaceport for launching and receiving the spacecraft. So even if you want to create a spaceport, then also you have to take the permission of the government beyond 49%, right? Now, what are the steps that have been taken to support the private sector in India? Indian Space Association (ISPA) has been launched in 2021, and it is an apex non-for-profit body which is working for a successful exploration, collaboration, and even the development of the private and public space in the space sector, right? Antrix Corporation Limited has been launched, and it is an marketing arm, okay, of ISRO. So ISRO is a government body, and if it wants to market its product, then it has formed a new body, which is Antrix Corporation. It goes in the market, and it tries to increase the market of the ISRO's products, right? So ISRO's commercial deals will be handled by this Antrix Corporation. The Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center in Space has also been formed. It is also an autonomous nodal agency to facilitate the private sector engagement in the private activities. So whatever the private sector involvement will be there, it will be done through in space. Okay, the government has reduced the paying of GST by the satellite or space sector, and India has also launched Space Policy 2023 that we have already talked about to increase the participation of private sector. Right. So these are some of the initiatives that have been taken in the space economy sector. Now, next thing that we have to talk about is the Rashtriya Udmita Vikas Pariyojana (RUVP). Okay. So what is this scheme? It is under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, and it has launched this RUVP under Skills India Mission. So under Skills India Mission, RUVP has been launched, right? So about RUVP, it is tailored specifically for the beneficiaries of Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi scheme. Okay, so all those individuals who are benefiting from this PM Swanidhi scheme, those peoples will be eligible for enrollment in this RUVP scheme, right? And what these individuals will be doing, they will be trained for entrepreneurship training. They will be given entrepreneurship training over 22 weeks. Okay, so and it will be this scheme will be focusing on reskilling and upskilling those employees of PM Swanidhi scheme. So it is important that in the PM Swanidhi scheme, only the street vendors were there. Those street vendors were not skilled or unskilled people or very low skilled people. And in order to increase their skills, in order to increase their earning capacity, skilling and upskilling will be provided so that they can become a very good or established entrepreneurs, right? So it will be piloted initially. Initially, it will be on a pilot basis, and it will try to ensure that 40% are the women's participation. Okay, so training will be done through online and offline. These are the only important thing about this Rashtriya Udmita Vikas Pariyojana. So what you should remember, it is under Skill India Mission for prelims, and it is also covering PM Swanidhi members, and those will be reskilled and upskilled. This is the important thing that you should remember. Now, Startup Shala has been launched, and it has been launched by Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, DPIIT. So you should remember that DPIIT is the body which is working for betterment of startups. Okay, so this is the body. Okay, in order to increase the promotion of industry and internal trade, so this body also regulates the startup sector in India, right? So this has launched the Startup Sala project. Okay, so what this is, it was launched in 2016, and it is an initiative of DPIIT that we have already talked about. It supports the entrepreneurs and build a robust startup ecosystem in India. In order to build a startup ecosystem, it has been launched. What is this scheme? It is sector-specific initiative for existing entrepreneurs to provide them access to the knowledge, network, funds, and guidance. Okay, required to scale up their product or their company or their startup that they have opened. Right. It will be 3 years, 3 months long accelerator program. It will be like training will be given, entrepreneurship training will be there. It has two type of branches, like green technology and deep technology branches, and in every branch 20 startups will be selected, and okay, and then they will be given some of the support. So these are the things that is Startup Sala. So Startup Sala, you should remember who is the implementing agency, who is the launching agency, right? And what they want to achieve through this initiative. Only these are the two things that you should talk about or remember, right? Now, ease of doing business reforms. What are the ease of doing business reforms that have been launched by the Indian government? It is Ministry of Corporate Affairs has operationalized the central processing centers to facilitate the ease of doing business. What these central processing centers will be doing? They have been established for centralized processing of regulatory compliance forms filled under Companies Act and Limited Liabilities Partnership Act. Okay, so what actually happens is that every time a company is incorporated, so they have to fill some of the compliance forms, right, under the Companies Act as well as LLP Act. So in order to decrease in order to decrease the time on compliance cost of the people or the companies, this central processing center has been launched, and this will be ensuring the centralized processing, right? and it will process the applications in a time bound manner and faceless manner. So it will be increasing the efficiency of this program, right? Centralized registration center will be there, and centralized processing for accelerated corporate exit, CPACE. Okay, so not only incorporation, but also if a country, if an industry or if a corporate house wants to close up its operations or its business, then its exit will be also ensured that it is very smooth and very fast. Okay, so this is very important initiative that has been launched. Okay, so what you should remember is what is this centralized processing center all about. Okay, so these are for early incorporation, early incorporation and exit for industries. So in the central processing center, UPSC can confuse you with these are the data centers. This is related to quantum computing. Okay, so these are the type of things that UPSC may confuse you with, right? So you should remember what are the central processing centers. Now, what are the significance of ease of doing business? If the ease of doing business reforms will be done, then economic growth will be ensured, foreign investment will come to India, right? And social development of India will be at a very fast pace level, right? Now, what are the focus areas of ease of doing business reforms? There are four main areas. Simplification of the laws. Okay, the laws are made simple. The regulations are made simple. The form filing is made simple. Okay, application for the industry incorporation as well as exit are made is simple. So these are some of the simplifications which are done in order to increase the ease of doing business in India. Also, the rationalization. Rationalization, this focuses on repealing, amending, and even subsuming the redundant laws which are not very important today, and some of the amendments has already been made to the old laws. So old laws are removed from the law books. Okay, so this is all about rationalization. Digitalization is the incorporation of everything on the digital medium, right? So the digitalization also promoting the ease of doing business. Decriminalization is the format where the laws, the if a company or a corporate house, if it violates some of the laws, okay, so they are not criminalized for it. So instead of criminalization or taking a criminal case against them, a civil case is filed, or a high penalty can be imposed on those. Okay, if they have to pay the penalty, then they will not be going for the offenses that they may commit or they are committing, right? So that is why decriminalization will be ensured. So these are the some of the steps that have been taken in order to increase the ease of doing business in India, right? Some of the initiatives that have been taken for ease of doing business reforms. Labor law reforms have been taken up. Okay, so all 29, approximately 29 central laws and other state laws have been codified into the four labor codes only. Okay, so 24, 29, or 30 labor laws were had to be kept in mind by the organizations, by the companies before they could invest in India. But now they have to take care about only four codes, right? So it has simplified the number of laws that needs to be followed by those companies, right? Now, foreign investment reforms has also been done in order to facilitate the foreign investment facilitation portal has been launched. Business reform action plan has been launched. Okay, for states and UTs, comprising of two parts: action plan A for business centric reforms and citizen centric reforms. Right, online single window clearance certificate, etc., are given at a very fast pace. So these are some of the initiatives that have been taken for ease of doing business reforms. Now, next is report on the framework for insolvency mediation. Okay, so what is insolvency that you should talk about? So you should know. Insolvency is when a company is there. Okay, if company is there but it is not able to conduct its operation because of the cash crunch. Okay, its product is no longer being sold in the market, or there's a any type of problem that this company is not operationalized now, unoperative. So what will happen to this unoperative company, that every asset of it will be sold, and whoever has given the loans to it, their payment will be done by selling the assets of the company, right? This is called insolvency of a company. Okay, so framework on framework on insolvency mediation, or mediation is to be done. What is mediation? Mediation is when two bodies are fighting and one person comes to mediate them, and they reach to a minimum goal. Okay, you give this, you give this, and this case is settled. So this is type of mediation. So mediation is to be done on this insolvency business. So what is the committee? Expert committee who has been formed, okay, by Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. It is also important body. Okay, it is a statutory body with T.K. Viswanathan as chairperson. So you should remember this name, because UPSC may ask like recently this T.K. Viswanathan was a chairman of a committee, and which was the what was this committee related to? Okay, so you should remember that this company was related to the insolvency mediation sector, right? Now, mediation framework in India. What is the framework of mediation in India? Mediation Act 2023 has already been formed. Okay, it aims to facilitate the mediation, especially under the institutional mechanism. Provisions in other regulation like Civil Procedure Code, Companies Act 2023, Commercial Codes Act 2015, and Consumer Protection Act 2019 also has some of the provisions of mediation. Right? India is also signatory to the Singapore Convention of Mediation. So these are some of the steps that India has taken in order to foster the culture of mediation in the Indian country. Right? Now, moving to the next topic. Only this much information was important for your prelims. If the question will be coming, it will be coming from this domain only. Otherwise, the question will not be asked. Right? You should remember who is this T.K. Viswanathan and what committee he has headed. Okay, what was the objective of that committee? Now, moving to the next topic, Securities Tribunal Appellate. Okay, SAT. What this appellate is there? Appellate is a quasi-judicial body. Quasi-judicial body that you must have already read in your polity. Okay, what are quasi-judicial bodies and who are the quasi-judicial body? What are their functions? Okay, what are their limitations? That are the some of the things that you may have already talked about or read in your polity. Okay, so securities appellate tribunal (SAT) also is there. Okay, and it is due to the absence of the full bench is affecting the functioning of SAT. Okay, so leading to the delays and disruption. This is why this SAT was in the news. Okay, and what is this tribunal? It is an statutory body which is established under the provisions of Securities and Exchange Board of India, that is SEBI Act 2009, 1992. And you must remember that under which law this body has been, this appellate tribunal has been formed. Okay, it hears and disposes the appeals against the order passed by the SEBI. Okay, pension fund regulatory PFRDA as well as IRDAI. So there are three bodies, and if any order is passed by these bodies, then if a aggrieved person wants to challenge that order, then he needs to go to Securities Appellate Tribunal, right? So you should remember under which act this body has been formed. Okay, though you may not be logically reaching to the same body, you should remember it, right? You should mug it up that under this SEBI act this has been formed. Okay, the question may UPSC may say that this has been launched under the PFRDA act. Okay, UPSC may say it has been launched under IRDAI act. So you should remember, or you should also remember what are the bodies for which this security appellate tribunal provides the judgments about, right? Now, what is this body composed of? Presiding officer is there one, and judicial members are appointed by the central government and constitution and consultation with Chief Justice of India and his appointee or nominee. Okay, with technical members are also provided. Technical members are needed because this securities or insurance or pension. So these are some of the initiatives, some of the sectors where technical expertise is needed. Okay, the person who understands these type of things can only be able to understand what is the case that is coming before the judge. Okay, so judge or judicial member may not be able to understand those technical terms, so that is why a technical member is also needed, and this is the concept of tribunal. So in the tribunals, a judicial member will be there along with a technical member. And the whole body will be providing some of the judgments. So these are the some of the initiatives that have been taken in the securities appellate tribunals SAT, and you should remember these, right? Now, unified payment interface UPI, though we have already talked about, but there is an update that you must remember. PM has jointly inaugurated the UPI services in Mauritius as well as Sri Lanka. These are the things that you should remember. And also RuPay card services has been launched in Mauritius. So this was the update that you should remember, that UPI services are not only available in India, but they have been now became a global services, right? And why this Mauritius and Sri Lanka has been chosen? Because much of the Indian community also lives in these Sri Lanka and Mauritius, and also tourism is also a lot of people from India goes to tourism in these countries. So in order to make the UPI payments very handy, this type of initiative has been launched in these two particular countries. Right. So now next topic that we should talk about is the Codex Committee on Spices and Culinary Herbs, CCHCH. Okay. Seventh session of CCSCH was held in Kochi, and this has been held in India. That is why you should remember this body, right? And what is this body about? It was established as one of the commodities committee under CAC Act in 2030. Okay, so this Codex Alimentary Commission is there. CAC is Codex Alimentarius Commission. Okay, this is a commission which actually talks about the whatever the laws regarding safety of plants and their products, then this body will be consulted upon. Okay, this is an international body, Codex Alimentarius Commission. This is an international body, and you must remember that WHO is also there, which is an international body, and it only talks about, or it only concerns itself with human related diseases or safety. Okay, so if a product is having safety of the problems, or sorry, of the pesticide or anything, and then this WHO will be called. And if a product is there which is concerned with the plants, okay, and their products, plant products, then this Codex Alimentarius Commission will be talked about, right? So CCHCH is a body which is under this committee under the CAC, right? And India hosts the CCSHCH since the beginning, and Spice Board in India has been launched under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which serves as secretariat organization. Okay, so secretary to this CCHCH is given by India. Okay, and India is only the host of it, right? Term of reference was there to collaborate worldwide standards for spices and culinary herbs for their dried and dehydrated stage. Okay, so they were forming standards for spices and culinary herbs, right? So these they have come to a single point in order to form some standards of the spices. So all those things you should not remember. What you should remember for your prelims, that where this body has recently conducted its session, that is it is in India. And you should also remember that this body is a sub body or sub body within CAC, and it was formed in 2013. So these are some of the informations that you need to remember about this body, right? Now, next is codex standards, and these are the international food text, that is standards, which and codes of practices, codes of hygiene, which are launched by Codex Alimentarius Commission, right? That I have told you. So if anything is related to the food or plant or any or plant product or food product, then this body will be making the standards for it. Nature codex texts are voluntary and do not have binding effect on the national food legislations. So they don't have a binding effect. They are non-binded binary in the nature. Whatever the decisions are taken under this CAC, right? Codex and WTO, WTO Agreement on Sanitary and Phytosanitary Measures, SPS Agreement, and on Technical Barriers to Trade, TBT Agreement, encourage WTO members to harmonize national regulations with international standards. Okay, so though these two bodies are different, Codex and WTO are different, but what WTO wants, that every member of WTO should be forming some of the standards in the in standards in their national regulations related to sanitary and phytosanitary measures, and also the technical barriers to the trade, TBT. Okay, so some of the standards should be there. Okay, what are the technical barriers to the trade that you that you people must have knowledge about? Okay, so technical barriers can be given by a nation. Okay, suppose tomorrow India will say, or US says, that we will be importing rice from a country with 0.005% of pesticide. This is the standard, 0.005% of the pesticide. This is a standard that have been given by the US now, right? So this is the thing, this is the standard that we are talking about in WTO, right? So WTO can form, WTO allows these type of standards to be given by any member state, right? Now, what is Codex Alimentarius Commission, CAC? It is an international food standards body which has been established jointly by the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, as well as WHO, World Health Organization, in 1963. So two bodies have come together in order to form this body. Okay, CAC, Codex Alimentarius Commission. Its objective is to protect the consumer's health and ensuring fair practices in food trade. Okay, it relates to food trade. Okay, its members are 169, and it's functioning as various codex committees are there. Okay, including CHCH, which is Codex Committee on Spices and Culinary Herbs, right? Now, standards are voluntary and can be general or specific. So they are not binding on the country, and they can be voluntarily implemented. You should remember this, and this is the only information that is needed for your prelims exam. Otherwise everything cannot be done by every member, and this information, even if one information may come as a new, this information will be helpful for eliminating the options for you, right? So you should only talk about, or only try to understand and remember this much information only. Now, moving to the next topic, report on transforming the fair price shops. So a new report has come in order to transform the fair price shops. And fair price shops, you already know that lot of corruption takes place in the fair price shop. A lot of wastage takes up, So there are many irregularities, and even some of the problems with this fair price shops. So in order to increase their functioning, the that report has been presented. Okay, Standards Committee on Consumer Affairs, Food and Prices, Public Distribution submitted the report. Right now, as per National Food Security Act NFSA 2013, fair price shops refer to the shops which are licensed to distribute the essential commodities to the ration holders. So those people who have the ration card, the distribution will be done by the fair price shops, right, under this public distribution system, targeted public distribution system, TPDS. Such license is issued by an order under the Section 3 of Essential Commodities Act. Again, Essential Commodities Act is invoked in order to give the license to open this fair price shop. Right? It regulates the control of the production, supply, and distribution and trade of certain commodities. Essential Commodity Act. Now, it has been launched in 1997. Okay, for lower subsidized food prices for below poverty line BPL families. Now, what is the key issues with fair price swap that I already talked about? It is leakages, divergence of food grains, and financial non-viability. That they are non-viable, right? So, what is the recommendation that have been given by the committee? Increase the sales of non-PDS commodities such as khadi, Ayush products from MSMEs. Form a monitoring cells to track the progress of model FPS in all states. Okay, so those model fair price swap have been formed. We should form a monitoring cell in order to have a track record of their performance. Okay, improve the working of vigilance committee. Vigilance committee should be put up, and also their working should be improved. Okay, so there are many things that have been given by this committee, and two or three are important for your reference. Okay, though in this recommendations, no prelims related question will be asked, because there are many information which UPSC can ask, and from here it will not go. Majorly, it will not go. It may go for 1%, but 99% it won't go. Now, efforts to transform the fair price shops in India. Means 43,000 fair price shops have been labeled with common service centers. Okay, so these are some of the things, but you can go through it once, but don't very diligently keep on working on this, because this information is lesser importance to prelims, right? Now, moving to the next topic, India's food grain storage system. India's food grain storage system. So, Ministry of Information Technology has transfers the technology for smart food grain storage system safety to industry. Okay, so transfer of technology has been taken up, and what is this safety related to? Okay, this is important because UPSC may ask what is safety related to, right? So this is the type of things you should remember about. So technology for safety was developed by the Society for Applied Microwave Electronics Engineering and Research, SAMIR. Okay, it is an autonomous research and development institution under Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, that is METI. Okay, what is need for a specific food grain storage system? Low production capacity. India accounts for only 18% of the global population, but only 11% of the arable land. So arable land is very low. Now, inadequate storage capacity. Capacity is very low of the storage of food grains. Okay. Now, food security. FCI has grains beyond its buffer capacity, which also requires a robust network of food grain storage facilities. So, in effect, food grain storage needs to be increased. Now, next thing that we should talk about is the initiative for improving the scientific food grain storage system. What are the initiatives that have been taken? World's largest grain storage plan for cooperative sector has been launched by India, in which decentralized storage will be done through by incorporating the primary agriculture credit society level. Right, agriculture marketing infrastructure scheme has been launched, which focuses on construction and renovation of godowns and warehouses. Agriculture Infrastructure Fund has been launched, which provides facility for post-harvest management. So these are some of the initiatives that have been taken in order to increase the scientific storage of the grain in India. Right. Now, next topic that we have to talk about is Cabinet's additional activities in NLM approves. Okay, what is this all about? Cabinet has approved the inclusion of additional activities is National Livestock Mission (LLM). Okay, so under this National Livestock Mission, some of the activities were allowed. Now, center or the cabinet has added some more activities in it. Right? What are the changes that has been done? Eligible entrepreneurs will get capital subsidy and state government will be assisted for breeding conservation of horse, donkey, mule and camel. So some of the animals have been added into the program. Okay, enhancing the fodder supply. Okay, eligible entrepreneurs will get capital subsidy for seed processing infrastructure. Okay, state government will assist for fodder cultivation in the non-forested land. So whatever the non-forest land is there, there forest fodder cultivation. Fodder is the feed which is given to the livestock sector, and this fodder cultivation will be taken up in those areas where forest can't grow. Okay, or even the wasteland or non-arable land. Simplification of livestock insurance program will also be done. So what actually will be happening? The premium for farmers has been reduced to 15% only in order to insure their own product. Right? Remembering remaining premium will be shared by center and the state. Now, number of animals to be insured has also been increased to 10 cattle units instead of 5 units for cattle, sheep and goat. Okay, about the National Livestock Mission. This one is important. Okay, what is this National Livestock Mission? Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry and Dairying is the main ministry which has launched this National Livestock Mission. Type is both centrally sponsored and central sector schemes are there. Okay, what is the objective for it? Entrepreneurship development in small remunerant poultry and piggery sector. Okay, so pigs, poultry as well as small ruminants. Small ruminants are goats. Okay, so in this sector, its objective is to increase the production or livestock management. Okay, increase of per animal productivity through breed improvement. So breed improvement will be done so as to increase the productivity of animal, increase the meat, egg, goat milk or wool or fodder production. This is all about this National Livestock Mission which it wants to achieve. Okay, jurisdiction, it will be implemented all over India, right? There are some missions of this National Livestock Mission: breed improvement, feed and fodder improvement, and innovation and extension services will also be provided. So these are some of the initiatives that have been taken under this National Livestock Mission. Right. Now, moving to the next topic, Annual Industry Survey (ASI). So this survey becomes important because what actually was happening before 2015. Before 2015, there was data collection from this annual industry survey (ASI). But after 2015, the GDP data collection have been changed. Okay, and now what actually happens is GDP data is got by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Okay, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Yeah, excuse me. Ministry of Corporate Affairs now collects data from its own servers. Okay, its own database has been launched. Now, what this is all about? Annual Industry Survey (ASI) released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. Annual Survey of Industry has been released. What are the highlights in terms of gross value addition? Gujarat remains at the top, followed by Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and UP. Okay, so GVA of these states are very high. The top 5 states in terms of employment are Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, and UP. Okay, so I don't think it is very important in the sector of the prelims. Okay, what you should remember is who are the top 2 states in GVA production. Okay, so Gujarat and Maharashtra are topmost. And in case of employment, Tamil Nadu and Gujarat are important. These are the two things that you should remember. Otherwise, more number of states will not be of any importance. Manufacturing sector is showing the resilience even after disruptions caused by the pandemic. Even after pandemic, manufacturing sector is continuing to grow. Now, about the manufacturing sector, so it contributes approximately 70% to the GDP. That you should remember. This is the data, that is the very latest data you should remember. Otherwise, what actually can be done by UPSC? Some other data like 19%, 20%, etc. can be given by the UPSC, and you should remember that only 17% are given by the manufacturing sector. So there is a huge potential exporting the manufactured goods. Okay, key driving factors are huge domestic demand, foreign direct investment, FDI, etc., which are increasing the manufacturing output in the sector. Okay, increasing the GDP of manufacturing sector. What are the challenges faced by the sector? Lack of credit, low productivity, and in comparison to other countries like China, Vietnam, they have this manufacturing of India faces competition that we have already talked about in our means classes. Now, government initiatives. What are the initiatives to increase the manufacturing sector? National Manufacturing Policy has been launched in 2011. Make in India initiative has been launched in 2014. PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan has been launched in 2021, and others like production linked incentive schemes and industrial corridor program, etc., has been launched in order to increase the manufacturing output in manufacturing contribution in Indian economy, right? Now, next is Sangam Digital Twin Initiative. What is this initiative? It is initiative of Department of Telecom, and it has unveiled the Sangam Digital Twin Initiative. The initiative is proof of concept focusing on revolutionizing the infrastructure planning and designing of the initiatives, and it is combining the progress of digital twin and artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 5G, 6G, and next generation computing. So, what actually is happening? The digital twin, as well as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, 5G, 6G, all those technological spaces have been given a single umbrella organization, that is Sangam. Okay, it brings all stakeholders on one platform. So one platform have been given to demonstrate the practical implementation of innovative infrastructure planning solutions. It is to be conducted in one of the major cities of India in two stages, that exploration stage and demonstration stage. So what this Sangam Digital Twin initiative, it is a platform. Okay, it is a platform that has been given to all those uh, technological spaces where some of the innovations are going to take place in India. Okay, what is this digital twin? Digital twin is a virtual mode designed to accurately reflect a real world physical object. Okay, you should remember what is this digital twin. So UPSC has already asked about Internet of Things. UPSC has already asked about artificial intelligence. Okay, in the science and technology domain. Now UPSC can ask what is this digital twin. So digital twin is a model which is reflection of a real world physical object. Suppose there is a object like a cup here in the real world that we see, then a digital image of it, digital image which accurately represent this real world object will be given inside the digital world, and this is called a digital twin. That you should remember, right? Okay, digital twin differ from simulations in large scale and two-way flow of information. So two-way flow information is also taking place in the real world and the virtual world. And digital twins are already being used in power generation equipment, large physical structures, and manufacturing operations. So digital twins is not a very nascent technology. The production and application of this space has also been started. So, what are the digital twins application in various fields? Remote monitoring. So, Digital twins make it viable to use hazardous operation. In hazardous operation, digital twins are used. Okay, better predictions, making policy decisions for providing more accurate forecast and simulations. Operational efficiency, urban planning also, these digital twins are being utilized. Okay, so you should consider that if an application based question is asked on the digital twins by UPSC, that this digital twins are being used in this, so you should understand that in the majority of the applications this digital twin technology can be used, and you should try not to in the majority of the cases you should try not to incorrect the statement. Okay. Now, recently, a private company has created digital twin of Hyderabad's 16th century Qutub Shahi tombs using drone scanners. So, by scanning the structure Qutub Shahi domes, okay, Qutub Shahi dome structure, they have scanned it by the drones, and this digital image has been transferred to the digital medium, where this digital twin already exists for this Qutub Shahi dome. So, this is what is digital twin all about. Okay. So I don't think this is important. Now, next thing that we have to discuss is three new major railway corridors has been announced by the Indian government. And what are these initiatives? PM Gati Shakti will be utilized for three new major railways, corridors. It will enable multimodal connectivity, including energy, mineral, cement corridors, port connectivity corridors, and high traffic density corridors. So where the traffic is very high, the new corridors will be implemented. Port connectivity, in order to increase the port connection connectivity through the to the hinterlands, and energy, mineral, and cement corridors have been announced. What are significance of these corridors? It will increase the logistics efficiency and reduce the cost of logistics. It will decongest the high density railroads. Okay, so these are some of the facilities or some of the benefits of announcing these rail corridors. Okay, so you should understand that energy, port, and high traffic density, these are the three different rail corridors that has been announced by the Indian government. So what is this PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan? It was launched in 2021, and it will be providing multimodal connectivity in infrastructure to various economic zones. It provides a comprehensive database of trunk and utility infrastructure, ongoing and future projects for various infrastructure and various economic ministries or departments, central government. This data is integrated with the GIS enabled PM Gati Shakti platform. So this is integrated with PM Gati Shakti platform. Okay, the goal is to achieve self-reliance and a $5 trillion economy by 2025. Okay, so PM Gati Shakti is important in that respect. Now, this PM Gati Shakti also focusing on economic growth driven by 7 engines, namely railways, roads, ports, waterways, airports, mass transport, and logistics infrastructure. So these are the seven growth engines that this PM Gati Shakti focuses upon, and in order to increase the economic growth of India and achieve a goal of a $5 trillion economy by 2025. Okay, it also have various infrastructure initiatives like Bharatmala, Sagamala, and Udaan. Okay, it comes on the intersection of all those three. So PM Gati Shakti has 6 pillars. It is comprehensive, prioritize, it optimizes the services, it synchronizes the services with each department, it is analytical, that is data is analyzed, then only the policy decisions are taken up, and then dynamic, it is very dynamic plan, it can be modified in a later stage of the project. Okay, these are some of the pillars of PM Gati Shakti. Now, next thing that we have to talk about is the Niti Aayog report on LNG as a transportation fuel. Okay, so LNG wants to be, so Niti Aayog wants that LNG should be used as a transportation fuel. Okay, Niti Aayog launched LNG as transport fuel in medium and heavy commercial vehicles. Okay, liquefied natural gas LNG is a clear, colorless, or non-toxic liquid that forms when natural gas is cooled to liquid stage, that is about 19 minus 162 degrees Celsius for shipping and storage. So actually, what is this liquefied natural gas? It is actually a natural gas which has been compressed, or uh, it has been freezed in order to convert this gas into the liquid form. Okay, so this LNG can be utilized for as a fuel in heavy commercial vehicles. Okay, you should understand that our Indian economy has very high emissions. Indian economy has third or fourth largest emitter in the throughout the world. Okay, so in order to reduce our emission intensity, and we also have uh, our goals to achieve net zero by 2070. Right, so in order to achieve these goals, what we need to do is we should reduce our emissions from the transportation sector. And transportation sector is one of the most greenhouse emitting sector in India. Right, so what actually can be done is to reduce in order to reduce this the emissions from transportation sector. We need to convert our transportation sector from fuel based or fossil fuel based to either electric or which emit fuels which emit less carbon dioxide. Okay, so we should be converting into those. So LNG is a natural gas, and a natural gas in itself emits very low amount of carbon dioxide, and sulfur and nitrogen dioxide are not emitted in those. So that is why what Niti Aayog is saying, that we should shift our heavy vehicles from fossil fuel based transportation towards the LNG based transportation. Okay, what is the need of LNG push to achieve net zero target, reducing the oil import, and India's rapidly expanding truck market, and even contribution to the gas-based economy, which India wants that by 2030, 15% should be, so 50% of the energy should be coming from the gas sector. Okay, there are many challenges to it also, but we are not going into the challenges of it, right? Now, next topic that we have to discuss is World Trade Organization, WTO. What is WTO? It is an international organization which is aimed at opening the trade for global benefit. It was established in 1995, and it was created by Uruguay round of negotiations in 1986 to 1994. There were 8 years of negotiations, and it is headquartered in Geneva. It has 166 members, and India is a founding member of it. This information you should remember by heart. WTO, the India is a founding member. What is the objective of WTO? To use a trade as means to realize the living standard, create jobs, and improve the people's life. So this is the objective of the WTO. What it wants to achieve, it achieves it through reduction of trade barriers. So if trade barriers are reduced, lowered, so what actually will happen? The export and import from a country will be faster, efficient, and the export and import will increase. And when the export and import will increase, the companies will increase the production of production of that material. Companies will increase the job creation. So this will be increase. This will lead to the reduction in the poverty. So this is all the purpose, whole purpose of WTO, creation of WTO. Okay, international structure of this organization structure of this WTO is ministerial conference is there, which is highest decision making body, and it meets every 2 years. General Council is there, which is WTO's decision making body in Geneva, which keeps on meeting regularly. Okay, and it also meets as dispute settlement body and trade policy review body. Okay, dispute settlement body is also there in WTO. If the two members comes into a dispute, then settlements can be done by this dispute settlement body. What are the functions? Forum for trade negotiation, settling the trade disputes, monitoring international trade, etc. These are the some of the initiatives at this WTO. does. Okay, what are some of the reports that WTO launches? World Trade Report, World Trade Statistics, Global Trade Outlook, and WTO Annual Report. So these are the reports that are launched by WTO. Sometimes what UPSC does, that it gives you the report and ask that which organization launches this report. So you should remember what are the reports that are launched by WTO. Okay, so some of the milestone that this WTO has achieved: in 2014, revised agreement on government procedure (GPA) was entered into the force. Okay, conclusion in 2015, conclusion landmark 1.3 trillion information technology agreement was achieved. Okay, and in 2017, trade-related aspect of intellectual property TRIPS agreement was amended to ease the poor countries' access to affordable medicine. This is important, which is recent also and important also in the world affairs, right? WTO's trade facilitation agreement was entered into force in 2017 only. Okay, now the next thing that we have to discuss about is challenges which are facing the WTO sector. Okay, so some of the this WTO is also facing some of the challenges. It is concession based between developing and developed countries. So you should remember that WTO is a very important organization, but it is facing a challenge that it works on consensus approach. Consensus means every member who is present in the WTO should say yes. Even if a single member says no, then the decision will not be implemented. Okay, each and every member should say yes to the implementation or to the change or to the reform that WTO should take up. Okay, so this becomes a very important, very major challenge in order to take the decision of WTO. Okay, its dispute settlement system remains dysfunctional because the appointment to this dispute settlement system, of the members is not happening. US-China trade war is also a type of challenge that WTO is also facing, and it is a very big credibility issue of WTO. Now, next thing that we should talk about is agriculture and food security. Okay, WTO's 13th ministerial conference that took place in Abu Dhabi concluded without a permanent solution to the public stocking issue. Okay, public stockholding issue, a demand raised by India. Okay, so what is this public stockholding policy? Okay, you should get this policy very resiliently. Okay, what are the things that is still remaining? Okay, it is still remaining very. There are number of topics that are still remaining. Okay, what is this public stockholding policy? Its objective is to make possible for the government to procure crops from farmers at MSP and store and distribute these food grains to the poor. Okay, what actually India does? India procures the food grains at MSP and then it stores them as a buffer to be given to the poor people. Okay, under public 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 distribution policy, PDP. Okay, public distribution system, PDS. Right, so what actually happens that the developed members, the developed countries, they say that they object to it. Okay, they object to it. Why is India doing this? This is creating a distortion in the Indian market, right, and also the international market. So that is what this public stockholding policy is all about. Okay, but what actually has happened while the negotiations were taking place in the Doha round of negotiations, de minimis limits were set up that 5% of the subsidy can be limit of 10% subsidy can be given by developing countries and 5% can be given by the developed countries. Okay, currently it is calculated as a reference period of 1986 to 1988. So the reference period that this subsidies are calculated, it depends on the base or benchmark of 1996 to 1988. Okay, but what actually has happened is now is 2024 and this benchmark is very old, right? So 5% of the 10% that this India is giving, 10% of that time can be 4% of today. right? So India is facing this issue, and India is saying that you should give us some of the permanent solution to this public stockholding problem. Okay, peace clause and India's stand. Peace clause has been given by WTO in Bali, and agreed to the peace clause as an interim solution to the public stockholding for security. So what this peace clause says, it says that okay, till the till this public stockholding issue is there, till we are not able to get a permanent solution to it, if India is also exceeding this 10% limit, then it will not be a problem for other members. Okay, so this is what this peace clause was all about. Okay, however, due to non-concessions among the members, it was extended. Okay, now India's demand is that permanent solutions should be given to the public stockholding issue. Okay, now next thing is why permanent solution to public stockholding is important for India. Public permanent solution is crucial for India for other developing countries, as it would legitimize the higher subsidies for food stockholding program. Okay, that I told you that 10% of the subsidy, it is on the benchmark of 1986. But what India wants to give more subsidies, so it should be according to 2024 or the latest data, so that higher subsidies can be given to the farmers of India. Now, domestic support in agriculture, known as boxes, is given in WTO. You should remember all those three. Amber box is also called as red box, and where subsidies are prohibited. And this includes all domestic support measures, okay, which are considered that they can distort the production and trade of some of the exceptions. Okay, and blue box subsidies are given. They support normally be in the Uh, but it is placed in the blue box if support also requires farmers to limit the production. If production is limited by any policy, okay. So if any policy says that this farmer doesn't have to produce any crop on their agricultural land, and they have to keep it empty. So, in order to force this farmer to keep their field empty, because if the crop is grown on this empty land also, the production of this crop will increase and price will crash. So, in order to maintain a minimum level of price, this farmers are told to not grow any crop on their land. So, these farmers should be adequately compensated. So, the subsidy that is given to these farmers is kept under the blue box, right? And then green box is subsidy that can be given, and it is given on non-distorting trade, and or the things that which gives minimum distortion. And what are the things that are included in this is research. Subsidies given on the research in order to increase the production of a crop, or develop a new variety of the crop which can increase the production. So these type of subsidies are kept under the green box, which are allowed, right? Green box are allowed. Now, moving to the next topic, fisheries subsidies agreement. WTO agreement on fisheries subsidy has been launched, and under this Geneva package, this has been given. Agreement was adopted during 12th Ministerial Conference of WTO in Geneva. What is the aim? Aim is to curb the harmful subsidies. That you should remember this, because this is very recent. Okay, and it is being discussed for 1 or 2 years now. Okay, so Geneva agreement has happened in 12th Ministerial of WTO, and what this wants to achieve, the aim of this agreement is that harmful subsidies should be reduced. Okay, and why this harmful subsidies should be reduced? Because the depletion of fish stock in the world's oceans is happening, because subsidized subsidized catching of the fishes from the oceans of the world is happening, and this is decreasing the the stock, fish stock in the oceans of the world, right? It is not accepted yet because acceptance from two-thirds of the WT members is needed for agreement to come into effect. So it is not it has not yet come into the effect yet, but it has been agreed to. Okay. India is not part of the agreement. Till now, India has not associated itself with the agreement, right? What will the benefits? It will give positive effects to sustainability of the marine fish stocks and fisheries. Okay, it will cover the subsidies on illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. Okay, it will prohibit subsidies to fishing or overfished stock. It will prohibit subsidies to fishing on unregulated high seas. Okay, those seas where those seas where there's no jurisdiction of any countries, the subsidies will not be given in order to fish on those high seas. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, if you want, then 1 2 minute break you can, else I'll continue.
Sorry, can you please repeat?
If you want, then if you require, then you can 1 2 minute breaks. Otherwise, I will proceed. Yes, sir.
No, no, actually, approximately 1 hour was kept to in order to give this lecture. Okay, we have already exceeded one hour. I think what should be done, we should be doing till here, and we should stop, and then we will cover it the next time that we meet, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay, will we cover it this topic, last topic only? So, special and differential treatment, SNDT. So, under special and differential treatment, developing countries and least developed countries have been allowed a transition period of 2 years from date of entry of force into this agreement. So, this agreement, that is agreement on fish subsidies, okay, reducing the subsidies to the fisheries sector. So, for this agreement to take effect, 2 years have been given to the developing countries as well as least developed countries, so that they can implement it at a later duration of time. Okay, so this is called special and differential treatment, right? Now, what are the principles for successful fisheries subsidies negotiation that have been taken up by World Wide Fund WWF, covering all significant fisheries subsidy programs? Every subsidy program should be covered. Forbidding the harmful subsidies on fisheries, okay, while allowing the beneficiary ones. If any subsidy is beneficial, then this should be allowed. Taking account of the special needs of the developing countries. Developing countries needs, special needs should be taken into account because developing countries like India has a high level of poverty, and many of the fishermen are poor, and they depend on fisheries for their livelihood as well as food, right? So there should be some of the special concessions that needs to be given um, for these developing countries, right? So these are some of the things that have been given by WWF. Okay, so you can read others only one time. Okay, no need to by heart these provisions because these are the negotiations that have already taken place. Now these will not be that much important now, but for the means it will be it will be important. Okay, so now we are going to stop our lecture here. From this cross-border remittances, we will be doing the next time that we'll meet, right? Okay.